Welcome back to another Super Paper Mario video, and in this video I'm going to be ranking every single every single mandatory pixel from worst to best, and this includes Tippy, but not her character. I feel like that'd be unfair. She'd easily rank number 1 at that point. This is just the pixel's abilities, and that's it. But I will say that I'm not including the side quest pixels like Barry, Piccolo, Dashel, and Tiptron. But I'll say my opinion of them right now. So Barry is a cool concept, but instantly gets replaced with Cudge. Then you have Piccolo, which, why? Then you have Dashel, which is really fun, but I've never actually unlocked him before. And Tiptron, same thing, and it's basically just Tippy without a character. So, yeah, that's my opinion of them. And other than that, let's get started. There is spoilers, and obviously this is my opinion, but yeah, let's actually get started now. This is why character isn't getting taken into consideration. You may have a great character, but it doesn't mean you're actually a good pixel. Tippy as a character, yeah, amazing, fully agree. But as a pixel, that's where it's a bit odd. And I definitely start to disagree a bit. Now, again, character amazing, no need to talk about that. Ability-wise, that's a different story. So first off, she has basically the title ability that Goombella has, or Goombario has. Cool, like, I don't really use it that much, but it could be useful for others, so I won't dock points for that. I will start docking points for the one and only Uncover ability that she has, which doesn't add to the gameplay experience. Now, obviously, it's a necessity. You need it to progress in the game. But it just slows down the pace where you actually have to turn the Wii Remote vertically. I'm gonna sound lazy for this, but actually point at the screen. Now, that messes with the controls because the control with that isn't that great, and that's probably my biggest problem with it. When you have to actually use the Wii Remote to point at the screen, it's not great, and obviously for me personally, it's not very responsive compared to other stuff. So it's a bit annoying trying to actually point at what you need to do. Sometimes it just flashes on and off, and that really is hurt by my gaming setup because I'm low, but my TV is high, so it's not great. But I think, again, the ability just isn't fun. It doesn't add to a gameplay experience. It doesn't make it genuinely interesting. Now, a character may be great, but her abilities are just not good to me at all. Not counting entering some itty-bitty shops, Dottie, oh my god, you probably use him at most 5 times. 5. Now yes, he is one of the most recent pixels that you actually get, but it's not like you get him in Chapter 8. You get him at the end of Chapter 5. So that means that you probably should use him a bit more than normal. Maybe he has the ability to walk over water, like Mini Mario does in the new Super Mario Bros. Games. But no. He just shrinks you, and then you just go under stuff. It's so underused and situational, which makes it not a good ability. So because of that, I have to rank him really low. But at the very least, he's better than Tippy, because even though he doesn't have a character, he controls better. You just use a button. And you could say that maybe shrinking makes it worse to control, but no, you jump a decent amount of height, and you go decently fast for being shrunk. So it's not bad, controlling-wise, but it's bad ability-wise, and it's so criminally underused. Slim is another pixel that is so criminally underused, and at least that his concept is a bit creative, especially because it's paper. Even though you have obviously seen it in the 1,000-Year Door first, or the original Paper Mario. I'm not sure, but I know for a fact that it was in the 1,000-Year Door. So it's not too creative for Paper Mario, the franchise, but for this game, it's cool. And I will say that you can, I'm not sure about this, but you might be able to just dodge enemies by switching to Slim and then just standing still. Because if you stand still, there's nothing that will hit you, which is pretty nice. I do like that concept. That's definitely a creative part of it. But other than that, Slim's there. He's not bad. He doesn't control great, but he's not awful. He's not as bad as Dottie. He's not as underused as Dottie, so I'd probably put him a bit higher than Dottie. Hey guys, when is Thudley useful? Now, I will say that in the 1,000-Year Door ability ranking for Mario, which, check that video out if you haven't seen it, I said that the ground pound is probably the best ability from that game, or at least for Mario, but that means that the abilities that are in that game are pretty bad, and I do agree with that. But in general, Thudley is just underused. Again, I mean, what do you use him for? You use him for the switches in 3-2, you use him to rescue Carrie, and what else? I mean, nothing really else that I could really think of. I mean, there's probably others, but not really that memorable. I mean, he's not forgettable like Dottie or Slim, but he's not really that memorable. And again, his movement is simple, at least that there's nothing hindering him. But it is a bit weird that you get him in the water level instead of, you know, the tree, which probably would have made more sense. But whatever, Thudley is basically useless. It doesn't do more damage to enemies as I know of, so there's no point in using Thudley at all. I completely destroyed Fleep in the level ranking, but I mean, he's not that bad. I think the main reason I was trashing on him was because I forgot about his secondary ability. But let's talk about why I actually trashed on him. His main ability is a necessity, don't get me wrong, you need to use it, but it's so useless otherwise. So what it does is that you have to actually uncover stuff, kind of like Tippy, but it definitely controls better, which is definitely better. He'd at least get number 8 or number 7, not bad. So you have to uncover this stuff. It's controlling fine, but then you have a secondary ability, which if you actually flip enemies, it makes them dizzy, which makes it easier to hit them. That's definitely useful for some people. I could absolutely see it. For me personally, I don't, but I will say that since there's actually a use for him outside of his trash main ability, I have to put it at number 5. Because look at every other Pixel we talked about so far. It doesn't really have a second ability that's useful. At least for Fleep, it's useful enough. That's why I put him at number 5. So, we're calling him Throw because his ability is literally to throw stuff. So Throw is pretty nice. He isn't amazing. I don't think that he deserves to be in the top 3. I can't really call him good because I don't use him enough, but I will say that he's probably a really decent Pixel, and I can definitely see the use for him. Not only is he just useful in platforming, he's actually useful in some boss fights, like King Crocus. I remember when I was fighting King Crocus, and I didn't actually use Throw because I didn't really think about it, and I almost died because of it. I died in the first phase. Well, again, I almost did, because I kept losing health, and I wasn't throwing the other flower things at King Crocus. So because of it, I was having to just ride on the flower things to actually jump on him. So definitely a harder fight without Throw. And just throwing other enemies on enemies makes them easier to take out, especially with piranha plants, because you can't really jump on them without maybe a boomer or a hammer or a carry. So just because of that, I can't really place him too high just because of the 3 Pixels that are in the top 3, but I will say that for your first Pixel, this was a good choice. I really do like this Pixel for it being the first. But, I mean, it's not amazing. I do think that it could have been more used. I think it was a bit underused going to the later levels, but for your first Pixel, definitely a good job. This is gonna be a weird name to say in 2020, but Boomer is actually a pretty good Pixel, and it's straight up because he is a bomb. Now, if you actually know how to use Boomer pretty well, then, well, you're gonna get a great use out of him. And the way to do it is to delay him the perfect way. And the way to do that is to perfectly line him up where he blows up while you're starting to run away. And that means that you can run away without taking any damage while Boomer does some extra damage. Perfect. Good. But I will say that he does 100% get replaced by Cudge. So because of that, I couldn't place him any higher. And I also just like that you can detonate him whenever you want to. You don't have to actually wait for him to blow up. You can detonate him whenever you want. And it could be right away, it could be right when he blows up. It doesn't matter. So, because of that, there's a ton of variety of ways to use him, and he's pretty useful at taking out enemies. But since he does get replaced by Kudge, I couldn't place him any higher. And also, the fact that he is a boomer. Kudge is just a great Pixel, and it's because, kind of like Boomer, he is a Pixel that is a hammer. And I think that the hammer is probably one of the best ways to deal damage in the game, aside from Bowser's Flames probably. And the reason why is because he does a crap ton of damage. It's the double amount of damage that Mario can do. So it's better than jumping on the enemy, even though you can't actually get that extra, I guess, style XP. So I actually prefer to just use Mario jumping just because of that, but oh my god, Kudge is just so useful to take out enemies. He does a ton of damage, he can obviously break blocks, which is his main use, and his secondary use is to take out enemies, and his secondary use is pretty good then. And you have to use him obviously to take out blocks, and also the fact that he replaces Boomer. Good job. Basically, you use Kudge throughout the rest of the game, which is so useful. But there is only one Pixel that deserves to be number 1, and one Pixel that you use actually throughout the entire game. Okay, who's really surprised? Carrie is just 100% the best Pixel, and maybe Dashel is better, but he's not getting taken into consideration for this list. So Carrie was easily gonna get number 1. He is one of the fastest ways to move in the game. Well, the fastest mandatory way to move in the game. And if you don't have Dashel, you're using Carrie almost 90% of the time after you rescue him. He's super fast, and he actually lets you get over spikes. And obviously his secondary ability of making you go fast, best thing in the game. I mean, you obviously know that my number 1 partner ability from the 1,000-Year Door was Yoshi, because he just moves fast. And again, info card if you haven't seen that, but you probably have, so I don't care. But if you haven't, go for it. So, Carrie, what did you expect, though? That's the thing, there really isn't anything else to say. It is a bit weird that you get Carrie at Fort Francis, but, I mean, I don't really know another time that you would actually get him, so that's probably the earliest that you would. So, give me Carrie as soon as possible. That's very nice. I'm glad that you get a fast travel, in a way, pretty early in the game. I like that a lot. Good job, developers. But other than that, thank you guys for watching this video. And since you made it this whole way, you might as well subscribe. But other than that, my next video will probably also be on Super Paper Mario. No. The next video is going to be the Q&A that I do, because I asked that last video. So, yeah, make sure to stay tuned for that, and I hope to see you guys soon.